What the heck is up tonight? I will tell you something, all of you absolutely wonderful people. Here's what I propose. We can get the Azure stuff set up, and then we'll dive into VizDoom together, and we'll see how far we can get. So let me get a few things ready here again. Today, what I had planned was to get all of the setup done for Azure. So getting all of our resources set up in the way that we need, getting our configurations, all of that business set up so that we can kind of just plug and play. Let's get started, shall we? First thing you need is in the directory where you want this reinforcement learning project to happen, you're gonna need a directory.azureml. So I'll copy the code. This is what it's gonna look like. Now remember, you're gonna want this in that config.json file. You're gonna wanna put your subscription ID from Azure, your resource group, and your workspace name. Once you have this config.json file, you've filled out your stuff, we're good at least to get a little bit started here. We are going to need some libraries. We're going to have some dependencies here that we're going to need. Reinforcement learning. And then there's like an Azure ML TensorFlow that I need. We got to set up our workspace. This is really easy because we have that handy dandy config JSON file that I told you about earlier. We can do that. Go gadget. Ha! All right. Imports were working. So now that we know our workspace correctly configures from our config file, we need to set up our experiment. This is basically just, at least my understanding of it is, this is where the fun's gonna happen. So this is the project, essentially. Instantiate an experiment. We'll call it Doom. Doom. We are going to call our virtual network DoomNet. You know, we're being real creative. Okay, we have our workspace, we have our experiment, we're setting up our virtual network. We need location. And thankfully you can pull this from your workspace as well. We need address space. And just to make sure that we created it, let's print out the result. Let's see if this works. Yes, all right, sweet, worked. Now, the one thing I'm not gonna show you, there is a bit of security setup you have to do. All right, the security stuff worked. Next up, my dear friends, is we need to create the head cluster and then our workers as well. Call this, we're just gonna name everything Doom. We need our max nodes. So now we've got all of our config will be set up that way. We won't accidentally duplicate compute if we already have something. Let's make sure that we let ourselves know stuff worked. This is gonna print some security stuff. So I'm gonna pull that over there, but I will show you when it works, what it spits out. So network security stuff worked. It's a problem with line 113. And look at that, et voila. Next is we need to create our workers. And our workers here, they're not gonna be doing like super fancy deep learning kind of stuff. They're actually gonna be running the simulations, gathering data for us. They're our workers, they're our grunts, okay? So we don't need GPUs for this. We can be pretty simple. So we'll call this Doom Worker. Go workers go, right? So this time we're gonna be using a different size, right? Because we don't need GPUs. So I've been working with data scientist as my title. I have been working as a data scientist for 3.5 years. Prior to that, even though my title wasn't data scientist, that's what my job was. In terms of more of like the software skills, that's something that I've really been pushing myself to fill my own gaps for the last, I would say, 1.5 years. I'm still not like super confident with it, but I've realized that my happiest days are just when I get to write a lot of code. The software I'm building for work actually has no machine learning in it right now, but still I've really loved it because I get to write code every day. I like it. So I need my else conditions. So what is my else condition? If we haven't already created it, we need to create it. So we need to create our config. We will create new compute. Parameter was called timeout in minutes. All right, so same as before, this is gonna show some security stuff. So I'm gonna get that percolating over there. You can see here that everything was successful. It didn't recreate our head compute and it created our workers. Good job, us. Now that we have Azure stuff fixed, now comes the difficult part. But this is getting VizDoom working on Windows. Pull up this documentation here. So I believe I have all of these dependencies. I put them in here just so we could look at them. Oh, okay, so hold on. I think I actually know where to go now. Thank you, random person on the internet. Oh, Miniconda, environments, Doom. Let's just try something. I don't know, figure out the Doom stuff. So I think it is time for a raid. So thank you all so much for sticking with me through the technical difficulties. I will be back next time with Viz Doom, so we'll be able to play with that some more. I'll see you next time, friends.